Hey friends, how are we doing so far? Keeping up? We're on chapter 10 now, page 86. And what did we discuss in the last chapter? Chapter 8 and actually 2 chapters we did, 8 and 9. In chapter 9, we learned that Clank, the big robot, is a comedian, a funny robot. Clink is the more serious, likes to get work done robot. Frank is talking everything science. He wants to do everything science. And Watson just wants pizza. And that's where we are for now. So let's find out what's going to happen in chapter 10. Let's see if Watson gets his pizza. Put your finger on the big W on page 86, chapter 10. Watson grabs the last slice of the Belly Bomb Supreme. He spots Frank eyeing him. What? You want this? No, says Frank. I'm just always amazed that you eat like a horse and look like a beanpole. We're going to have to design an experiment on you when we get to the human body systems. Pepperoni, mushrooms, ham, black olives, ground beef, onion, green pepper, sausage, cheese, chicken, spinach, bacon. Ooh, says Clank. Okay, we have to stop for a second just to acknowledge the fact that this is Miss Mo's favorite pizza. I can't believe that they just named all of that. Anyway, moving right along. No, says Frank. You're a robot. You do not put anything into your input port again. Dextrose, potassium sorbate, modified cornstarch, partially hydrogenated soybean oil, sodium phosphate, citric acid, ferrous glutamate, BHA, BHT, adds Clink, and yellow number 5. Frank rolls out his diagrams, charts, and blueprints on the workbench. Clink, Clank, and Watson gather around. So, to build the ultimate science prize project, we start with the first section of our total science layout, matter. The building blocks of everything. This paper, this table, this cardboard pizza box, this pepperoni, this water, the air, solid, liquid, gas, everything in the universe is made of matter. Watson finishes off his slice of Belly Bomb Supreme, cheese crust, yellow number 5 and all. You sound like a science textbook. Exactly correct, says Clink. I am hungry, says Clank. You cannot be hungry. How do you know? You are a robot. So are you. I know I am. Maybe you are not. That is ridiculous. Yes, you are. No, I am not. You are not a robot? Aye, ding, ing, 300 yards, turn left. Clink intones in his worst GPS voice. Recalculating. Clink smacks himself in the memory circuits and reboots. I really wish you could not do that to me. Guys, yells Frank, stop it. We don't have time. Yes, Clink resumes in his regular voice. Matter is made of tiny particles called atoms. Atoms are made of even smaller particles called protons, neutrons, and electrons. Like this pizza is made of dough and cheese and toppings, says Watson. Kind of, says Frank. So you're going to make a model of an atom? Guesses Watson. Frank leans over the table. Watson, please. Any second grader can make a model of an atom. My invention, my project, goes beyond matter to antimatter. Hums Clink. He quotes, antimatter, elementary particles with the mass of ordinary matter, but with the opposite charge. Watson frowns. Ella who? With what? Frank translates Clink's definition. Scientists believe that for a lot of the small pieces that make up an atom, they're exactly the same pieces with an opposite electrical charge. Antiprotons and positrons are the antiparticles of protons and electrons. And here's the crazy part. When this antimatter is combined with its matter, continues Frank, annihilation occurs, and that releases huge amounts of energy. Is annihilation delicious? Asks Clank. Oh, do not start that again, moans Clink. That's actually a good question, says Frank, because you are a machine. You need to eat energy to operate. If we can perfect my invention, that's exactly what we can use it for, to feed all the machines in the world. But that's nuts, says Watson. You would need to smash together a lot of matter and antimatter to power all the machines in the world. Frank smiles. No, that's the best part. It only takes a teeny bit of matter mixed with the same teeny bit of antimatter to make the biggest amount of energy. True, says Clink. Your other Einstein wrote the equation that calculates the amount of energy from matter exactly. E equals mc squared, says Frank. The amount of energy created can be figured out by multiplying the mass of the particle times the speed of light squared. Frank picks a mushroom off the pizza box. So, if we had this mushroom and its anti-mushroom, let's say their mass is 1 gram. Frank types into his calculator. The energy created from smashing them together would equal 1 gram times the speed of light squared. What's the speed of light, Clink? 300,000 kilometers per second. So, we square that. Frank calculates. 300,000 times 300,000 equals 90 billion kilometers per second squared. We multiply that times the 1 gram. So, from 1 gram of mushroom and anti-mushroom, we get 90 billion units of pure energy. I have no idea what you're talking about, but that's a crazy amount of energy from one mushroom, says Watson. Frank faces his new robot pals. Can we combine matter and antimatter? Clank nods. Does a robot clank in the woods? Clink studies Frank's sketchings and drawings. He instantly searches, scans, reads everything he can find on creating and annihilating antimatter. It is not impossible, concludes Clink. So, what would you make with all that energy? Asks Watson. Frank smiles. I would make my... Frank hears a very faint, very tiny, very mechanical, bug-like zzz. Wait, did you hear that? Hear what? Answers Watson. The fish alarm didn't go off. Frank pauses, looks around, then rolls out his plan. Ooh, what do you think they heard? I think they heard that bug. Let's find out in Chapter 11 on page 95. Chapter 11. A kid wearing size 5 wingtip shoes hunches over a giant polished black desk, staring intently at one of 6 high-definition video screens. The screen labeled Drone Bug's Eye View. Man, I hate this guy, says the kid. It's bad enough he invents 2 great robots, but then all he does with them is talk blah blah, I love science this, blah blah, I love science that. What a moron. What an idiot. Eep, meep, replies the chimpanzee in the pinstripe pants, sitting at the controls next to the kid. The big robot on the screen says, Does a robot clank in the woods? What did he say? Bad joke. Edison. Because yes, of course it is. T. Edison in his headquarters. Because really, who else wears size 5 wingtip shoes? Looks even more closely. Those robots are gonna be tough to beat for the science prize. But Frank Einstein is not going to one-up me again. Edison slaps his hand on the desk. Wait! What is that? They're making plans for something else. Zoom in. Too noisy. Don't tell me it's too noisy, you pooping primate. Zoom in. Mr. Chimp toggles the joystick control on the master panel. The picture zooms in tight on Frank Einstein. On the screen, Frank pauses. Wait, did you hear that? Mr. Chimp leans back in his office chair. He crosses his big, hairy, bare feet on the desk. He pulls out the small metal ant box from his pants pocket and pushes a slender stick into the hole on top. Hear what? Answers Watson on screen. The fish alarm didn't go off. Mr. Chimp pulls out the ant-covered stick and licks up a quick snack. On the Drone Bug's eye view screen, Frank Einstein pauses, then rolls out his plan. I can't believe this, says Edison. Is that what I think it is? Mr. Chimp tucks his ant box back into his pocket, brushing a few stray ant legs off his white shirt and striped tie. No! Screams Edison. No, no, no! He thrashes around in a tantrum, scattering papers, knocking pens and pencils flying. Mr. Chimp grabs the joystick with his toes and scans the drone bug camera over the plans. He signs, "Yes, it is." "Yes, I know what it is. What I think it is, you mangy monkey. But no, this cannot happen. That goober Einstein cannot win the science prize." Mr. Chimp curls back his lips and shows his teeth again in what a human might think was a smile. But if you were a chimpanzee, you would know Mr. Chimp was thinking about biting your throat out, ripping your arm off, and beating you senseless with it. "So, Einstein has a plan?" says Edison. "Well, I have a plan too, Mr. Chimp. Listen up." Ooh, you guys, take a look at this picture. There's Edison and Mr. Chimp. They're looking at those screens. There are 6 of them. One of those screens is definitely showing Clank and Frank and his plans. Oh, this guy is terrible. He's trying to cheat. He definitely does not want to see Frank win this. Edison is cheating. Let's see what happens when we look at chapter 12.